Boker Tov and welcome. Today we're going to conclude our discussion of the hope of the restoration of the people of Israel. This is part 3. My name is Ann Elliott and I'm the creator and founder of HomeschoolingTorah.com. We've been reading from Deuteronomy 30 verses 1 through 3, and it says, "When all these blessings and curses I have set before you come upon you, and you take them to heart wherever Jehovah your God disperses you among the nations, and when you and your children return to Jehovah your God and obey him with all your heart and with all your soul according to everything I command you today, then Jehovah your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you." That's good news. We've been talking first about the blessings and the curses and how those curses have come up. And we've been seeing people return. They've stopped eating defiled food among the nations where they were scattered, and they have come to him. And now I want to look at verse 3 today especially. It talks about the fact that when you it should be verse 2. "When you and your children return to Jehovah your God and obey him with all your heart and with all your soul according to everything I command you today." Now, it says specifically not just you, but you and your children. I do believe that children in the Torah are referencing those who are under the age of 20, but those are the ones that are living still in your home. You know, the Torah is supposed to be written on our gates. And that means, well, if something was written on the gate of a city, that would mean that it's the law of the land. It's the Torah of that city. And all who enter through those gates had to abide by that Torah. It's the same way with your house. When you have written the Torah on the gates of your house, you're basically saying to your children and to your guests and to anyone who enters that when you are in my home, the Torah is the law of the land. It should be enforced and it should be taught. Don't be afraid to enforce the Torah at home with your children. I'm not talking about your 40-year-old children. I'm talking about those who live within your four walls. It's okay because Jehovah says when we obey him with all of our heart, and it's you and your children, then he will bring us back to the land. Peter says in the book of 1 Peter that we are kings and priests. And I note two things about that for thinking about my children and how to enforce the Torah and teach it to them. First of all, kings are supposed to write a copy of the Torah in their own hand and carry it with them. And I think it's really important. Even at HomeschoolingTorah.com, one of the most important subjects of our day is copy work. And not just any copy work. We're not copying Shakespeare and C.S. Lewis and other people, no matter what they say that may or may not have been good. No, we're copying the Torah. We start in Genesis 1 and we go on. And a friend brought out to me just a couple days ago that, maybe we should be having them copy it in his language, even in the language in which it was written, which is Hebrew. Just like our kindergartners learn to be able to read and write in English by copying it, we could help our kids learn to read and write the Torah in its original language by giving it to them for their copy work. That's something I'm going to have to think about because I haven't been doing that. Our kids have been copying it in English, and I think we might want to switch that up. Secondly, they're priests. And what are priests to do? They're to teach the difference between the clean and the unclean, the common and the uncommon. And your children, you want to equip them to be able to go out into a world and teach the difference between defiled food and undefiled food, between holy behavior and unholy behavior, so that we are peculiar people who our behavior is different. So they're kings and priests. Teach them to write the Torah, and then teach them to teach others the Torah. Secondly, besides teaching it to our children, I would encourage you to learn about the land. If we're going to be returning there, and we believe these scriptures are literal, which I do, then I think we should look at Ezekiel 47, verses 21 and 23. And it says, this is after the return, so this is a future prophecy yet, it hasn't happened. It says, "You are to distribute this land among yourselves according to the tribes of Israel. You are to allot it as an inheritance for yourselves and for the foreigners who have settled among you and who have children. You are to consider them as native-born Israelites. Along with you, they are to be allotted an inheritance among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the foreigner settles, there you are to give him his inheritance, declares sovereign Jehovah." You know, I think about the fact that when Caleb entered the promised land, he set his eyes on a certain mountain. He said, I want that mountain. And I think about that when I think about the promised land of Israel, the literal land. I love to go on Google Earth and survey it and say, I want that mountain, or boy, that's gorgeous. I feel my heart is drawn to that place. You should learn the language. If you want to live in the country, you should learn Hebrew and learn to speak it. You can go to all kinds of places and resources to do that, and I've got some linked below the video. You should visit it if at all possible, even at the feast times, because that's the appropriate time to come up to Jerusalem. And finally, you should pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and I wanted to close with that. I'm going to read Psalm 122, verses 1 through 6. I rejoiced with those who said to me, let us go to the house of Jehovah. Our feet are standing in your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is built like a city that is closely compacted together, and that is where the tribes go up, the tribes of Jehovah, to praise the name of Jehovah, according to the statute given to Israel. There the thrones for judgment stand, the thrones of the house of David. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls and security within your citadels. For the sake of my brothers and friends, I will say, peace be within you. For the sake of the house of Jehovah our God, I will seek your prosperity. I have found that as I think about the peace of Jerusalem, as I pray for them, as I follow them on news stations and see what's happening over there, my heart is drawn to that land and I am in love with it and I want to return. I've got lots of links below this video so that you can get more than what I can pack into one of these. How are you preparing for the return? Is your heart being drawn to it? I would love to hear your comments and suggestions and ideas, stories, and just tell me, send pictures even. That would be great. All right, we will see you tomorrow.